Hello, welcome to Terrors of the Milky Way. My name is Dale DuFay. Here again is a real good, I'm going to pause this real quick. Here's a real good artist rendition of the Milky Way galaxy. This is the best I've seen. I put this Earth in here because this is the location of the sun in this solar system, which has an Earth, obviously, because we're on it. So, this is, again, the best rendition I've seen. You can clearly see the Sagittarius arm coming off the galactic center. They call it a bar here, and bulge. And they also assume it's a black hole. It's important to realize that this is not a black hole. The Mandela effect's proving it isn't. It's a white hole. This is where all matter in the galaxy comes from. Because there's if if you can't, if the galaxy's not collecting material and bringing it to the center, that's what they think. And they think that this is the only Earth in the Milky Way galaxy. In the Milky Way galaxy, the Mandela effect's revealing is full of Earths, at least for sure in the Sagittarius arm. Again, this is where we are. I know here's the Orion spur right here. I know there's a bunch of Earths with life as we know it on them and us along this spur. I remember being there, and we're still there. But we keep shifting into other realities in the same dimension where to make this Earth to scale, you wouldn't even see it. I have to make it larger for illustration. But there's obviously, uh, you know, hundreds of Earths in this area that we know of easily. We were there. Again, the shifting is proving it. The Mandela effect is proving it. And it's also proving that there's, as these Earths age and venture out the galactic arm, along with the solar system, of course, in the eons of time and not even noticeable in lifetimes of human beings. So we wouldn't notice that, the solar system moving along the arm. And as that's happening, the solar system grows. And the Mandela effect's proving that. I mean, I can go ahead and I put together this video to illustrate. Now, the Mandela effect's proving this. We know there's super Earths out here. This is 75,000 light years away. See the 75,000 KLL. I know that's approximately 75,000 light years from this Earth, this solar system. Again, we know there's a bunch in here. We have to assume there's the whole arm is Earths. And these clusters out here. We know there's many out here because we all have different recollections of our birth Earth, if you will, the reality where this portion of your soul originated. And but yet we're in every one of them because our soul portions are fiercely independent. We're oblivious to it, but yet every soul portion is connected on a subconscious level. It's important to realize that. But the Mandela effect is showing that the solar systems venture out and and get larger because these super Earths are out there. We've seen it. We're still out there. This galactic arm could be calving. That's a distinct possibility as the Milky Way galaxy continues to create solar systems with Earths. Now that's an important thing to realize. It's the solar system. If this is a white hole and all matter is from there, we can see the arms coming right out from it. Sagittarius arm, the Persean arm, the Norma arm, the Centaurus arm. I know there's many more arms, at least 7, but again, they have a very dim view of the galaxy this close to the center. It's like a blind spot. That's because there's so much matter and energy there. You can see the bulge down here, and that's the view of the plane of the galaxy. You can see the bulge in the center. That's where all matter's created. And you can see it's not taking a break. The arms are still connected and being added onto. And we know the Sagittarius arm has solar systems with Earths on them. So this is an important point. Now, when did creation start in these realities? Obviously, prehistoric times, creation with the dinosaurs, they had a parallel existence. They're proof and evidence on every Earth. So all life on prehistoric Earths had a parallel existence. So creation started at some point. when millions of years ago, perhaps the solar system we're in now, back when it might, when it's shortly after it came from the galactic center, it was Pangea. And life created, obviously there's evidence of life on Pangea Earths. All these Earths were Pangea at one time, hundreds of millions of years ago. Maybe even this one, this close to the center. Who knows how long it takes. But at some point, creation started. Say the boundary line for creation was right here, and all the Earths, which were these, because they all started from there. So again, say this one went back, started here. This solar system could obviously started from the galactic center, like all of them. So it could have been right about here when creation started. And again, it's not taking a break. It's still creating. So that boundary line, I call it the creation boundary line, had to have, started at some point. Obviously, must have been right here. Let me go further into the video and do this one here. This is pretty much the same, starting off. The same one again, because again, this is important. We know there's a solar system here because we're here. It says so at the sun, but we know there's many on the Orion spur, Orion inner arm, and you can see they're one of the same with the Sagittarius arm. The Orion arm is not its own arm. It didn't start from the galactic center. It branched off from the Sagittarius arm, which did start from the galactic center, like all these arms do. Matter's not sucking into this galactic center. It's the opposite. Everything's opposite of what we're being told. There is no Big Bang Theory. This galaxy was, long, who knows how long ago, calved off of another galaxy, perhaps, the nearest galaxy. What do they call it? The Andromedan galaxy. So this, was calved at one time, and matter started creating, and all these arms extended off the galactic center with Earths in them. Think about it. These other arms, we have no proof. Again, I came from its outer reaches of the Sagittarius arm, as many of you did. So this is a really interesting subject, because this is what the Mandela Effect is showing us. There's obviously Earths along the Sagittarius arm all the way to the outer tip. Again, this one was practically out of the galactic plane, the reality I recall, where this portion of my soul originated. That's still there. Perhaps, again, it might be calving. That might be what's causing the Mandela Effect. The Milky Way galaxy is calving as we speak, because it's still creating, and it has to push out these solar systems at some point or another, and it might be that point in history where this is actually happening, causing the Mandela Effect. So, again, I know there's some Earths even this far in, and here's that creation border boundary, and in prehistoric times it was over here. So, these Earths were all back up over here. But as the eons of time goes, and the creation of these realities move along the galactic arms, the border moves with it. So what is that telling us? Obviously, because the Milky Way galaxy is still creating solar systems with Earths, and everything we see in the night sky, every reality has the constellations and everything. But the border, these new Earths are not going to have our reality. It's impossible. Quantum entanglement would prohibit it. It's not going to reach over here into these realities where these brand new Earths are, that are not tipped on their axis and perhaps do not have moons. They were just like these Earths were eons ago, before things happened during the realities throughout the history of humanity. Now, who knows how advanced our ancestors were? Obviously, they were way more advanced than we are. But again, this creation border moved along with all the Earths after creation started on them. The realities, the multiple, parallel realities that are virtually identical. Now, it's close to the, parallel universe theory, but in that theory, they think that every decision you can make, you will make, but the Mandela Effect's proving that that's not the case. At least with me, I've made the same decisions in every single reality. My reality has been identical. So again, it's just remarkable. So it's important to again, to get this boundary line is very important. Let me pause this here. This boundary line was here. Okay, because we know the creation started on these Earths when they were Pangea. Even the super Earths were Pangea. There's proof of it. And there was life on them during Pangea. There's proof of that as well. So let's just assume creation started at that point, hundreds of millions of years ago. But since then, the Milky Way galaxy is spitting out solar systems with Earths. Okay, and they're not going to get the same reality. It's important to remember that, realize, and this is what this isn't some, of course it's conjecture and and hypothesis and theory and all that, but you got to put everything aside and look at this logically and simply. This Earth on the outer reaches was created from the galactic center when it was very young. The galaxy was very young and was calved from Andromeda. Who knows? Galaxy. They're not colliding, they're calving. I can't stress that enough. There's proof of it in the Reading report. But of course, they shunned that report. It was done decades ago, and they shunned it because it's an affront to the Big Bang Theory, and that's a problem. But the Mandela Effect is proving that Big Bang Theory is very obsolete. It's quite the opposite, just like many things are. We live in an inverted society. It's important to realize that. Everything is inverted, backwards. So if the galactic center, again, this is a theory. This is all, and this is just from pure deduction of what we're experiencing with the Mandela Effect. These Earths came from the galactic center and ventured out this arm. We've seen it. We're experiencing it. Nobody told us. We're being shown by experiencing the Mandela Effect that we have multiple realities throughout the Sagittarius arm, for sure, and maybe all the others, who knows. And maybe the other galactic arms have the new Earths that are awaiting. I mean, I always wondered what that verse meant, a new heaven and a new earth. That to me, that sounds, it's either literal or, it meant that we were going to cleanse the current Earth. But this is, again, keep in mind, those verses are difficult to understand when you assume that we have a singular reality on a singular Earth. The Milky Way galaxy is proving that, the Milky Way galaxy is teeming with Earths. The Mandela Effect has proven that. We know there's so many in this area, again, down this Orion spur. I know there's many realities. I remember, I'd always look at the Milky Way galaxy and where our location of the solar system in that particular reality is. So we know there's tons of them in here. And they're, again, it's to scale, it would be difficult, but they are light years apart. That's because our realities are separated by, I say it all the time, by distance, not dimensions. Again, that, parallel universe theory, it's the math comes out to where we do have a parallel existence. But they assume that it's in different dimensions. And the Mandela Effect's proving otherwise. It's in the same dimension, and we all make the same decisions in every reality because your body's not moving with you when you shift. You just shift into another body because nothing can leave, only our soul portions. But again, it's with all this logic in mind, and again, we're being shown what better way to teach us that this is a reality, even though you got to say it's a theory. But there's, so what does that tell us? Okay, there must be a creation border / boundary. There must be. It has to be, of course. And again, that boundary was created hundreds, maybe billions of years ago. Who knows? Because this is just eons of time separating the lapse of and the evolution of these Earths and these solar systems. You know, the Mandela Effect is showing us they venture out. It's just awesome. We know more about, you know, physics than any astrophysicist on the face of the earth. I always like, my favorite is Michio Kaku, and I seen him when I was out in this reality where I still am. I just have another portion of my soul out there in that, you know, version of myself that I originated from. But I remember him talking about our location in the Milky Way galaxy, and I've seen it dozens of times because I was always very fascinated by it, and I liked the way he presented it. But it was clearly out here. In fact, I remember him commenting how it couldn't get any further off the galactic plane than it is. It was like off the northern plane up here, way out. If you look down the lower left here, you can see the plane view of the edge of the galaxy. And it was actually way off the plane and out way quite a bit. I remember him talking about that all the time. And when ironically, he would mention how, you know, he'd come down in this area and point and say, well, we wouldn't want to be down there because it would be uninhabitable. Because it'd be like living in a pinball machine in here, he said. But of course, he was oblivious to the fact that he had a replica version of himself that's been sharing his soul since the day he was born in realities down where he claimed we couldn't live. And ironically, on the same, you know, he did the same show in the same topic location of the solar system. And of course, in this reality, it is here. And he would ironically say that we couldn't live out here on the outer reaches because it would be like a frozen wasteland out there. But the Mandela Effect's proving that the entire Milky Way galaxy is habitable. In fact, even no doubt, these brand new Earths that are obviously coming out of the Sagittarius Arm. Again, the Milky Way, the galaxy, is not going to take a break, and it's going to keep on creating solar systems with Earths regardless of when creation started. But there is that boundary, think about it. And it's moving along with these, you know, these on this side, all these realities, however many billions there are, you know, the creation already happened. The Earths are already marred, if you will, with human existence. And it's been going on for millions of years, to the point where they even probably, again, our ancestors were obviously far more technically advanced than we are today, and we're pretty highly advanced right now. So, you know, our ancestors obviously could do many things, and they no doubt transversed the entire solar system in their reality. And no doubt the asteroid belt, I'm certain, was a planet that they destroyed. And I do believe that the moon was towed in by something, and that's what caused the tip of the axis and the cataclysms. Could you imagine, you know, what that would cause? The caps would melt almost instantly because they were exposed to the sun where they never were exposed before when they were on a vertical plane like these new ones no doubt are. And these new solar systems no doubt have that planet where our asteroid belt is in these realities. I mean, think about it. Again, this is still just a theory, but the Mandela Effect is showing us, it's not telling us, that all matter in the Milky Way comes from the galactic center. All matter in any galaxy comes from their galactic center. It's too obvious, makes too much sense. But again, it's an affront to the Big Bang Theory, which many of you know I like to call the Big Boo-Boo Theory. But it's, you know, it's important to realize, you know, okay, so what are these? How many are there? There's probably billions of them just from the galactic center just to this boundary line of Earths without our realities, without life as we know it on them. They're perhaps, you know, they probably all have dinosaurs on them. Wouldn't that be something? You know, there's evidence in Texas that there's literally fossil footprints of dinosaurs with human footprints right next to it. So obviously human beings were on the Earth when the dinosaurs roamed the Earth, and probably, you know, no problem coexisting with them. You know, so no doubt these Earths would have the same history, perhaps starting on a prehistoric history happening here. Maybe, so in other words, the dinosaurs didn't go extinct. Obviously, the dinosaurs had a soul. We can say that simply because the Mandela effect showing us that they had a splintered and fractured soul and existed in every single reality just as we do. All history had this parallel existence, otherwise we wouldn't be here. We couldn't exist without this parallel existence, this quantum entanglement. But, again, the point I want to bring out, I can't stress enough, if what the Mandela effect is showing us is there is a line where, all reality started and stayed and went on to its destiny and destruction or whatever happened throughout all the eons of time, through all the ages. Um, that started and kept going. But the new ones are not going to have the reality that we have now or as our history. It's a clean. These are clean. I mean, again, I'm going back to Revelation when John was talking about a new heaven and a new earth. I always wondered what the heck did they mean. Well, obviously, it's literal, my friend. Think about it. There are new earths. Now, maybe a brand new one, solar system, was created from the galactic center. Who knows how it happens? Maybe the star comes out first and then the planets afterwards. But the fact is they're parallel to what these are, because it's making the same thing, the galactic center. But there is this invisible boundary line that started here billions of years ago and is here right now. So the fact that the Milky Way galaxy is not taking a break, science has proven it. It's not going to, just because creation started, it's not going to stop doing its thing. It's going to continue creating matter. It's going to continue to calve. Every arm is going to calve eventually. Perhaps, again, maybe the Sagittarius arm is calving as we speak, and with a brand new solar system developed from the galactic center where all matter in the Milky Way galaxy is created. Think about it. I mean, you look down here on the left where you see the plane of the galaxy. That bulge right there. That's not a black hole. I mean, come on. So if that's the case, again, we can only speculate. But the Mandela effect is, who would have expected the Mandela effect to come around in the first place? And here it is. It's crazy. It's showing us a lot of things. And I think the important thing is it's showing us that the new heavens and the new earth is literal. Again, these earths are going to be completely, unscarred from any human realities. Any of these realities cannot breach that line and go into here. Now, that's obviously going to happen. These things are awaiting us. According, again, I'm not theocratic or religious, but I am highly spiritual. And the Mandela effect is showing us many things. So there are these earths awaiting us. There has to be enough of them for, because who knows the amount of earths and realities we exist in. It has to be the same amount on this side of the boundary line, if you think about it. And that makes sense. It has to be. So the number might be enough to where our realities from here can come over here. It's really incredible. I think the Mandela effect is really, again, it's important to realize that there's that, well, I call it the opposition force. Since this creation, at least when humans were created, obviously there's prehistory, but there's evidence that we were there too. Our ancestors were there even when dinosaurs were roaming the earth. There's evidence of it. So all these realities all are parallel. It's so important to remember that and realize that, and they're venturing out, and that line does exist. But it's important not to forget about when creation did start, and it did. Obviously, and it must have been way back here. But when that happened, when humans were created, at some point during that creation, that's when, obviously, think about it. Human beings have the best of both worlds. We have the spirit of an angel and the material body to do incredible things, reproduce, build things, design things. We can do things that angels cannot do. Think about that. So when we were created eons ago, there was a huge, some of the, again, I'm not theocratic or religious, but the Bible, I do, it can be taken any way you want, but there are important clues in there, and there's some about the creation. It actually hints to the fact that we were supposed to live forever, human beings. It makes sense because think about it. There's trees and turtles that live longer than us, and yet we're the pinnacle of creation. So there's something wrong with that picture. But anyway, since humans came on, there's been that opposition force because of the jealousy. And, the challenge was brought up according to the creation story. Now, there's a lot of good clues in there. Perhaps we were supposed to be perfect. And that challenge came up. And that challenge had to be answered. And the best way to do it is to allow the challenge to happen and watch it fail. And it's been given pretty much since humans been on Earth. And the reason that challenge was brought up in the first place is because of jealousy and envy. The opposite, the angels that turned on the Supreme Creator, I call them opposition. They're totally in opposition to the Creator. But the Creator allowed, let's just say the Creator was a professor in a college, and a student presented a question or challenged a professor. The best way for the professor to show the student that they were wrong was to allow him to do it, because otherwise if they just said, no, you're wrong, forget it, then it would still be doubt. So that challenge had to be answered in the best way it could be, which would be allow it to play out. And I always like to say, the jury is adjourned. Time's up. The challenge is over. And you failed. The opposition failed miserably. Obviously, look at society. It's inverted. Again, it's backwards. Inverted. Everything's screwed up. And it's because of that opposition. And they were allowed to do it. Again, it's going to fail at the end, obviously. And then the professor, in this case, the Supreme Creator, is going to be proven correct. So I honestly think that perhaps at that time, that's when the new Earth will, be occupied without that opposition. If you listen to, the Revelation, it makes so much more sense now, thanks to the Mandela Effect. But opposition is supposed to be restrained for 1,000 years. So we'll have 1,000 years without any influence. Whether that's going to happen in these realities or not, I'm not sure. But I have a feeling that ultimately, we're going to be in those other realities. Let me get this one's going. This is where I show the line. Okay, again, these realities over here are not going to be ours. These are the new Earths, I'm telling you. Again, it's, hypothesizing. But the Mandela Effect, keep it simple. It's showing us what's going on. There is, obviously, realities, multiple realities, all in the same dimension. So we know there's new Earths. There has to be. That's what, it is literal. Think about it. So I don't know if that 1,000-year reign is going to happen on this side of the creation border in new realities or not. I assume it's going to be in these realities we're in now, when the 1,000-year reign. But afterwards, it's that influence, that opposition is going to be released again after 1,000 years. And I think at that point, that's when the unrepentable souls of humanity will be revealed. Their true colors will come out because they will be influenced again by the opposition. And then supposedly that's going to be the only time that human souls will be destroyed. is after that 1,000-year reign. And maybe it's at that point these Earths will be ready for human realities, our parallel reality to exist again, but without any influence. And look at the time that opposition has had to prove its case. But it was important because it had to be proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that challenge was wrong. And it had to be shown to the angels and everything involved, humanity, you name it. And again, keep in mind, all this fuss is being made over us human beings. Every spirit in the dimensions, other dimensions, they're not from other planets. They want you to think they are, but they're not. They're from other dimensions. The Mandela Effect's proven that, again, because our soul is splintered and fractured. How more incredible can that be? It's showing that there's Earths with realities and life on them as we know it, all throughout the Milky Way, or at least for sure the Sagittarius arm. So what does that mean? There's no other planets out there with life on it, just Earths. Wait till they find that out, when those exoplanets they're discovering on a daily basis, when they are able to send probes to them. Those exoplanets are no doubt Earths that are going to send the same probes back to us. It's going to appear as though the probes came back, but they didn't. They come from another reality. And it's also important to realize that we'll never meet each other. The realities are too far apart. That quantum entanglement would prohibit us from bumping into another reality where we exist and hitting each other. Because let's say you left this Earth to go to this exoplanet, to send a probe from this reality to this or let's just say our reality here to this exoplanet. Well, here, lo and behold, it's Earth. They're doing the exact same thing. They're sending the probe maybe to this exoplanet. They're just basically going to cross paths and wind up on the Earth, and they're going to be identical probes. For the most part, there might be variations enough to know this was built different. But it's gonna seem like they got sent back. That's why they can't pick up signals from the other realities, because it's just feedback, So and same thing's true if we were to go out and personally, as an astronaut, go out into this reality, and then we see that, oh wow, it's life as we know it in another Earth. Well, your other version of yourself, the astronaut, the other version of that astronaut is going to go out to this, so it's just basically switching. But again, the distance is going to prohibit that. There's, light years is 6 trillion miles, and this is times 75. That's incredible. That's basically, every grain of sand on Earth counted as a mile. That's how many miles apart it is from at least, to the super Earths anyway, on the outer reaches. But this cluster here and this cluster out there are very close in geographic terms, but in our mindset, it's impossible distance, inconceivable vast distances between realities. So we'll never be able to reach one another. Plus, like I said, the quantum entanglement would prohibit it. So that's an interesting thought. But I always like to bring up this, I don't talk about it much, simply because, it's so much conjecture. But you have to realize, really think about it. The galaxy's still creating matter. Matter being stars with solar systems, creating solar systems with planets. And obviously, the best ones are the ones with Earths around them. How many of those stars in the night sky have Earths around them? But it's important to know that there's brand new ones coming out. Who knows how long it takes? Maybe it's the 12 cycles of ages. Every age on these Earths and these realities, or after all 12 ages, which comes to 27,000 years or something like that, 26,800 years for all 12 ages to go. We're in I believe in the age of Aquarius, because again, it's supposed to be the information age. And what is the Mandela Effect doing? And I have a channel called The Mandela Effect Equals Knowledge. I'll leave the link below, but that one concentrates purely on what the Mandela Effect is showing us. And this channel is more about the Earths and the Milky Way galaxy, hence the title, Terrors of the Milky Way. But there's some, there is this boundary. It has to be. And over billions of years, it's reached this point. We know it has to be behind us, closer to the galactic center. The boundary line is behind us. There might be dozens or hundreds and thousands, maybe, of realities that are still between our reality here and that border. Who knows? But the fact is the border, creation border / boundary does exist. It has to. Think about it. So again, what's behind there? From being made from a galactic center that never stops. There's solar systems with Earths. Of course there are. There has to be. And again, they're not going to come about and all of a sudden have, boom, our realities on them. Because our souls don't keep splitting and fracturing. They were splintered and fractured with the X amount of portions from day one. And they have never, lost or perished or gained from day one. And the soul portions in realities where something happened to us or something happened in our human history, those soul portions are in that reality's heaven, if you will, in limbo. Think about it. Until every soul portion is released from their replica version of their self by dying, by natural causes or whatever. And then all the soul portions will be rebirthed again. But again, there's going to always be portions of your soul in that reality, in that dimension, where the spirit realm is, in limbo. Perhaps that's why certain people have very keen in being able to see the future and things, seers and things like that, because they have more portions of their soul in that realm. But that would indicate that their actual realities are not on every earth. But I'm sure that's the case with all of us. I mean, I love the namesake of this phenomenon, Nelson Mandela, the Mandela Effect. We know for a fact that he doesn't exist in a lot of realities because he was executed or died of sickness in prison in the 80s. But many also, the realities, he was liberated from prison and extended to presidency of South Africa. But again, the outcome's the same. The geopolitical realities are exactly the same in South Africa in every reality, whether he was a martyr or whether he was a president. But again, all this is happening on this side of the border. And on this side of the border are brand new Earths. I'm telling you, it has to be that way. That would explain the new Earths and new heavens. And of course, there's no danger being this close to the galactic center, obviously. This solar system we're in now is only 26,000 light years. I mean, in galactic terms, that's next door. But in human terms, it's a 26,000 light years is an inconceivable distance. And these are obviously far enough away. And there has to be enough of them. Again, I only put a few in there to illustrate. But there's, obviously hundreds, if not thousands, if not millions of Earths in this area that are separated by distance. Some maybe only be a light year away, but we'll still never reach it. The probes will, but again, the probes are going to come back. They're going to appear to come back because they're coming from another reality. I mean, isn't that crazy when you think about it? Again, it explains why we can't pick up signals from other civilizations, because those other civilizations are our realities. They're us. So if they are searching for signals and sending out signals, all the realities are. So it's just going to come up as feedback everywhere. You're not going to get anything except that humming noise, which they still don't understand. But we know what it is, because by experiencing the Mandela Effect, we know there's multiple realities doing the exact same thing. Astrophysicists and everything. But again, it's so important to realize that this boundary must exist simply because we know all these Earths started from the center. All of them. even obviously even this one, eons ago, when this galaxy was young, I started from the center. All of these Earths, all these billions of Earths, or perhaps tens of billions, or who knows? The galaxy can hold 500 billion planets. Think about it. So how many of those are Earths? But they all started from the galactic center when the galaxy was young, and was calved from another massive, mature galaxy eons ago. So that's what the Mandela Effect's showing us. So with that in mind, again, this doesn't stop. There's still Earths being created. Think about it. Of course, they're Pangea at first, and they start spreading, and the water starts coming on until they're huge. Like these bad boys out here. Sagittarius super Earths are remarkable. Again, the reality I recall, where this portion of my soul originated, I call the Adam's rib reality, because it had massive ice caps. All males were missing a rib, and the reality I recall, it even had a continent on the North Pole called Arctica. So those are still there. Think about it. Of course, again, it's possible they're calving. So I still don't think anything would happen to them, because they still have the sun. The entire solar system will go with it as it calves off. So I don't think, and it's probably so gradual that the realities that we have, we're still there. There's just another portion of your soul and the replica version of yourself you originate from. But I'm sure it's so gradual they don't even notice it. But that could be why the Milky Way galaxy is, reached its capacity. And that might be why the Mandela effects happen. Like I said, every 27,000 years or whatever, a new solar system comes out. And it's all full right now. So it could be calving as one's being born, if you will. It's obviously what's happening. It makes too much sense. And again, the Mandela effect is proving it beyond a shadow of a doubt. So there's the boundary line that moved along with all these Earths along the galactic arm. It started here in the galactic center, like all of these Earths came from. And the boundary line went along with all these Earths while the galaxy was still making Earths. And these are behind the border. These are the new Earths John was talking about, I'm telling you. Or, it'll seem like each, of course, our splintered and fractured soul will be in each reality separately, independently, like they are now. That's why there must be enough Earths in there for our splintered and fractured souls to go to. And times, again, the only reason I'm saying that is, again, the Mandela effect. It's never happened before. Everything else has happened before. Cataclysms and, everything. Civilizations rising and falling. But the Mandela effect has never happened. That in and of itself shows just how incredibly important this incredible event is. So I honestly think it's showing us that, we are the pinnacle of creation in the Milky Way galaxy. It's as simple as that. And there are no other planets with life on them. Of course, those opposition forces, which are from another dimension, again, it's important to realize that. And they are in opposition because they are very jealous of us. They want us to think that they are from another planet. But, because many times they'll point up to the stars and say they came from there. But what they fail to mention is you are there too. But that's their way of, they're deceiving. They, if they're going to present themselves, they have to say they came from somewhere. And they can easily say they came from, any of these realities. These stars, and, if there might be obviously a sun where a star in Orion's belt where there's a reality of ours. And they can say they came from Orion, but they don't tell you that we're there too. And we're here as well, where they are. And there, and there, and there, and there, wherever, everywhere. And of course, they don't want us to know that. They want us to think they came from another planet. They don't want us to realize just how important and how incredible us human beings are. So these, again, there are new Earths. They don't have the pyramids on them. They don't have anything on them that humans made in these realities. Think about that. Brand new, clean Earths with the axis going straight up and down. They probably have massive polar caps on them already, ice caps on both poles already. All these because their axis is straight up and down, and it's that makes a paradise Earth. These are paradise Earths waiting for us. I'm telling you, it has to be incredible. Think about it, and that's what's so cool about the Mandela Effect. It's showing us so many remarkable things about creation and life. It's remarkable. And another interesting thing about those fossilized dinosaur footprints in Texas with human footprints next to them is for starters, those footprints are thought to be 260 million years old. And right next to them are human footprints. And the remarkable thing about the human footprints is they're exactly like our footprints right now, which would indicate that humans back then were exactly like we are now. We didn't evolve from nothing. I'm telling you, we were created exactly like we are now. As a matter of fact, if anything, we de-evolved because we used to be perfect. Think about it. Humans were perfect in antiquity at one time until that challenge happened. So it's important to realize that. And since that, we've been slowly kind of digressing, getting a little better as far as age of humanity, as far as living to be 80 or so. But we used to live into the hundreds, if not thousands of years when we were closer to perfection. So, obviously I think that's going to happen again. That's what John in Revelation's talking about. That literally new Earths, brand new, untouched by humans or any reality that we know of here, but these all Earths have. Virtually identical regardless of the size. And again, of course, there's variations and differences. We have to expect that between realities. That's what's amazing. But the outcome is always the same. The Allies won World War II in this reality, just like they've won World War II in this reality. But, the battles varied because the geography was different. So we expect that, but the outcome remained the same. So, in fact, I can't wait to finish. I'm working on a book called The Quantum Battlefield. I just love it because I always studied World War II history ever since I was a kid. The battles vary considerably in these realities, but yet the outcome remained the same. It just fascinates me. That quantum entanglement is incredible. It must be maintained, and if it can't be, then it's maintained in the end by the outcome remaining the same. Just like time remains the same, regardless of whether this time on these dwarf Earths is 50% faster than these time on these super Earths, where it's 50% slower. So we have more time out there, but it doesn't seem to matter. It remains the same, but there is compensation. But again, I kind of digressing, but this is the big deal here. This had to have existed, and it started back here, no doubt. These Earths were all here at one time, and have worked their way out to here, and get larger as they venture out. The Mandela Effect showing us that. This Earth, is, one I recall, is literally 4 times larger than this one that we're in now, or at least 3 times. I remember somewhere around 64,000 mile circumference, where this one's only 24,800. So, these are huge behemoths, the matriarchs of the Milky Way. But yet they have the exact same reality as their counterparts down here, this close to the galactic center. They have identical, same earthquakes happen and the same on every reality. Every geological event that's recorded in history happened, volcanoes, you name it. Mount St. Helens happened in every reality. It's so that, what does that tell us? That the Earths are tied together on a quantum level. So they must have a soul as well. Think about it. And all life created on each Earth in each reality is tied into the Earth. Everything is made from the Earth. Everything. So, it's going to have, that's why we see variations and differences. The earth, in a sense, influences each reality. Because obviously, like I said, they're, Mother Earth, they don't call it Mother Earth for nothing. And again, their matriarchs are out here, with the parallel existence with these Orion dwarfers. We know it because we can look into the history. Weather events even are identical. Now, what are, the same events are happening on these Earths as far as geological events. That's why they start from Pangea and grow. So as these new ones are growing, they're affecting these over here. But of course, the boundary line's not going to affect that. All the Earths, from the brand new ones to the oldest, are going to all be tied together constantly, regardless of what life was created on them. But the creation line of life on these Earths, which will always remain tied together, that's why when this Pangea one's growing and spreading, it's going to, other ones are all going to grow and spread as well. In other words, the Earths don't stop growing. Think about that. So they're all affected. But when the life on them, there is a boundary line. So these brand new ones are untouched. The solar systems are brand new. And like I said, they probably have the planet where the asteroid belt was, or is in these realities. There's a planet in these realities. Pristine, and the Earths are paradise. Think about it. So I think, without trying to be religious and theocratic, but we can talk about spirituality. These are the new Earths, I'm telling you. There has to be, because these can't be. They're too marred up. How could you make these Earths that, over time, if humans left them, they would reclaim themselves. But, that's, again, I can't see these being new Earths, because they're not. They're too marred up by human civilization. But these on this side are not. But they are doing the same thing. Again, all these Earths are affected by these Earths. I'm telling you, this one here, this total Pangea one closest to the center, is growing and spreading apart as we speak. There's evidence of it. There's a lot of geologists that believe in the expanding Earth theory. And the Mandela Effect is vindicating them. And there's a lot of Eastern religious, I don't know which ones specifically, but there are beliefs out there that our soul is splintered and fractured. They don't really understand where each portion is. They assume it's dimensional. But again, the Mandela Effect is vindicating those beliefs. But each portion is in a reality in the same dimension, separated by distance. So there's a lot of beliefs out there that the Mandela Effect is vindicating. The expanding Earth, the splintered and fractured souls of all life, including the Earths. It's remarkable. So yeah, again, I just, maybe I'll leave with this. I kind of did a album here. Maybe we can, let's see, New Earth. We'll do a slideshow. I just can't get enough talking about it. That's why I got to do these videos. It's mostly for my own personal therapy, because there's no one to talk to about it. So I can't get enough about talking about it, and I don't really care what anybody thinks, how crazy this is. But to me, the Mandela Effect's proving, like the hand in front of your face, what's going on. It's showing us there's Earths in the Milky Way galaxy, all over, millions, trillions, who knows, billions at least, hundreds of billions, infinite. And that, I can't get enough about that. These Earths, I was in an Earth that was like mid-size. I'll never forget that. That's when it first started happening, where I start realizing I was shifting. I might have been shifting for a long time before I realized it. I wasn't paying attention to logos and things. But when those things were brought to my attention, mostly the Oscar Mayer one, I freaked out because I knew right away it was a very serious, important event. And again, it was like something totally unexpected. Who would have ever dreamed the Mandela Effect, something like the Mandela Effect would come around? And here it turns out to be a conundrum. you know, let's just say, the Mandela effect is for knowledge. It's supposed to be giving us knowledge by showing us. We would have never expected anything like that. But wow, once it happens, it's like it's showing us that we have realities on different Earths with different time zones or different time calibrations. Each Earth is calibrated to its time, its own time, invented by humans. Think about it. And the Earths all spin at the same speed. See that? Regardless of what size they are, they're all spinning at the same speed. So the time, the calibration is going to be different. Again, 50% slower out here, 50% faster in here from what we recall. And that's incredible. And I can't, that's why I'm really sorry I don't do comments, but I get too many real bad negative ones, and I'm not going to, sit here and make a fool of myself. But to me, it's very obvious what the Mandela effect is showing us. There are Earths throughout this arm, and no doubt we can assume they're on every other arm of the Milky Way galaxy, which are many more than what they're showing here. The artist renditions of the Milky Way galaxy out here are perfect because they have a better view out here of the whole galaxy they can see out here. But their counterparts in here can't see boo-hoo. But, they have that connection subconsciously, constantly with their other counterparts. So they are able to make pretty good educated guesses in here. Again, this is the best one I've seen, but it only shows 4 major arms. But I know there's at least 7. There's definitely the Norma arm, the Sagittarius arm, the Centaurus arm, and the Perseus arm. Now, I know I can't remember the names of the other ones, but I know there's at least 3 more. And the Milky Way galaxy, this Milky Way galaxy from the view out here, looks like a pinwheel. It's remarkable. And again, astrophysicists out here never dreamed that the entire galaxy is habitable. They all say otherwise, and they're oblivious to the fact that they have replica versions of themselves here in their soul since they were born in realities that are in places they thought were uninhabitable. And they think the same thing here, that out here is uninhabitable. And that's something. In fact, even Carl Sagan thought we were out here, but that's because he was subconsciously connected to the replica version of himself out there, where he knew they were out here. So that's not residual evidence. He just made an educated guess. And then when they had better equipment beyond Carl Sagan's time, the next generation of astrophysicists, they knew the location is here, not out here. Even though we know we're out there, Carl Sagan's out there too. He didn't know it while he was alive. He was oblivious. We're all oblivious to it. That's how independent each portion of our soul is, but they're connected constantly. And the Mandela effect is showing us that. Simply by allowing us to, coalesce into other replica versions of ourselves smoothly, instantly, in a blink of an eye. Doesn't matter how far apart they are. But like I was getting at before, I might have been shifting quite a bit before I realized it, because a couple times I'd caught myself like, what am I, in a different universe? Or I'd walk into a store, and I was there just a few days earlier. You walk into a store, and I assume that they just rearranged the whole shelves. And you'd say something, hey, did you rearrange in here? And they'd go, no. And you'd be like, well, I must be losing my mind. But once I realized that we were shifting, then it makes a lot of sense. Of course, the same store is going to have different shelving arrangements, perhaps. And for the most part, everything's identical, really. But you are going to see variations and differences. And you're not going nuts. You're just simply inside of another replica version of yourself that's been sharing your soul since you were born. And that's incredible. And all that shows us, so you start thinking, you start thinking, you realize we've been shown that these realities exist. These realities all exist in different size Earths, this close to the center. So that line, that galactic line, has to be here somewhere. It's just that. So these are new Earths here. I'm telling you, New Earth, isn't that incredible? New heaven and a new earth. I always wondered what that meant. I always wondered what Revelation 10:7 meant. The sacred secret will be revealed, or the mystery of God would be revealed. I always wondered what that meant. Now we know. The sacred secret is the Mandela Effect. I'm telling you. It's prophesied. The Mandela Effect is prophesied. It was not perpetrated by evil forces or humans. No way. It's impossible because it's too incredible. Shifting into replica versions of yourself in a blink of an eye over 75,000 light years away. Who they don't. Those opposition forces don't want us to know that that's what's happening. I'm telling you, this is Voyager. I did a video about Voyager. Someday that might wind up in a solar system that's duplicate to ours, and they're going to think that the thing came back, and one's going to come from theirs, and we're going to think the same thing. So again, this is the artist's rendition of the galaxy. We know it's way more incredible than this. Sorry about the traffic noise. There's state highway here, and a lot of people don't have mufflers. They can't afford them. Too busy paying insurance. Michigan insurance is outrageous. See, we're here on the Orion inner arm, and we know that they're not changing anything, because you can look at any globe, any map, and it's going to represent the Earth you're on and the reality you're in. So it didn't change. Nothing changed, and everything is quantumly entangled. The whole entire universe is. I'm telling you, and the Mandela Effect's revealing it. Quantum entanglement enables particles to affect each other simultaneously across any distance. Entangled particles would remain connected even if they were 75,000 light years away. Quantum entanglement is everything. It's the basic, fundamental foundation of existence. The Mandela Effect's revealing it. It's just remarkable when you think about it. And there are new Earths, literal new Earths awaiting us. Think about it. They're all behind here. They're waiting for us. And there might even be some, again, there's no doubt Earths in the other arms. There may be totally different histories there, but with the same human conditions, perhaps. Or some of these arms may be pristine Earths with no life on them as we know it. Who knows? But we have to assume that the entire Milky Way galaxy is teeming with Earths, not just the Sagittarius arm, which we know for sure is. Again, because we're being shown, we're not being told. We're just being shown. What better way to teach? Show us. But of course, as soon as you start taking creation out of the picture and going down that sinister road, thinking it was something perpetrated by this experiment by human beings at CERN, which CERN is just nothing but a little pin spot on the Earth. There's no way. Once you start going down that road, then you're going to run into stumbling blocks and hit a brick wall. But when you realize just how spiritual this is, and it was perpetrated and prophesized and perpetrated by the Supreme Creator, because only the Supreme Creator of the human soul can do what it's doing to the human soul right now, allowing us to shift into other replica versions of ourselves, incredible, that have always existed. And again, I always like when we shift, it's important to realize that every portion of your soul is shifting at the exact same time you do, like a full circle, like musical chairs. All the souls are shifting at once into other replica versions of ourselves. And we're not flipping back and forth. Some people think we're flipping because they see something they recall in the reality they originated from. But that doesn't mean you're flipping back. That just means you went forward into another reality that had the same style, logo, or something perhaps that you recall. Because again, it's going to happen. Some realities are going to have something that you recall and some ain't. And that's going to keep happening. That doesn't mean you're going back and forth, because this shifting is forward all the time. Shift, 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 just like musical chairs. Shift, shift, shift. Of course, we came from here, so who knows? Like I said, we could have been shifting out here in these realities, in these super Earths for a long time, and they were so identical we hardly noticed. Again, shelves being rearranged and stuff. But we're shifting towards closer to the galactic center where creation started. So there has to be that stopping point where it stopped, and it's obviously behind us, or as we shift ahead of us. So at some point, again, there could be thousands, tens of thousands of Earths in this sector of the galaxy. We know there's tens of thousands out here, and throughout the entire arm. Again, I was on a mid-sized Earth when I first started realizing this was happening. And it wasn't a dwarf like this, but it still was real small from what I remember, because the Panama Canal went straight north and south. Plumb line north and south, because the isthmus was perpendicular east and west. Because that Earth was larger, the Isthmus of Panama was stretched out more. So it's showing the expanding Earth theory is correct, and that's been hypothesized in the 30s and 40s, and ever since then. But again, it can't be because of the Big Bang theory. But obviously it is, and the Mandela Effect is showing us. Again, I can't talk enough about it. It's crazy. And then I start thinking about this stuff. Wow, creation started, and it must have been following along these realities. The starting point is moving with in other words, it's not staying here and popping out new Earths with the same reality. But it's moving along with us, and these are the new Earths. So John, that was literal. Think about it. So anyway, I appreciate you listening and allowing me to talk about it, because this is a miraculous thing. I know it sounds crazy, even if I'm not claiming I'm right. This is just theory, but a pretty cool one, isn't it, if you think about it? But we have to realize that the Mandela Effect, the very mere fact that it's happening, is just obviously ushering in something very important. These new Earths are ready. I'm telling you, that time is up. That challenge has been answered. It was miserably failed, with monetary systems, and it's just everything's unfair, everything's backwards, everything's stupid. They keep everybody dumbed down. They don't want us to know anything. They certainly don't want us to know we have a parallel existence and multiple realities throughout the Milky Way galaxy, because then we'd realize, wow, we're really special. They don't want us to know that. Think about that. But the Mandela Effect can't help but show us. Again, we're not being told, because if we were being told, it would be the opposition would cry it unfair. So the Supreme Creator has to constantly be fair with the opposition. Think about it. So he can't, tell us, or I don't know why I'm saying he. The Supreme Creator could be it. It can't tell us, but it can show us by having something happen that no doubt happens perhaps every 26,000 years. When a new Earth is created and when the galactic arm calves. There's got to be not just a spiritual, but a material, matter is involved, obviously. Tangibility is involved, along with the intangible. It's quite remarkable. Again, I can't get enough of it. Wait till they find out those exoplanets are Earths. But unfortunately, when they do find out, they're not going to tell us, because they don't want us to know just how incredible we are. I'm telling you. So with that, I thank you for watching, and we'll Milky Way galaxy trot with you later. Love you.